Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda, and Keith has an album out. I produced it, so you guys should get it. It's called I'm Dating Your Mom, and this is the week. This is the important week. If you're going to get it, if you're thinking about it, getting it, get it now. Again, it's called I'm Dating Your Mom. It is hilarious, and he might be dating your mom, so you should pick it up.
Track 6 lets you know.
Yeah. Well, he's very consistent and very sweet about it.
KeithandTheGirl.com/album. You can get it from iTunes. Also, now it's on Amazon as well. Dear Keith, says this email. This is from Amanda. Let me start by saying you are right. Well, we'll read this one for sure.
Oh, boy. Another made-up email.
Listening to your Not Cat saga has been extremely cathartic for me as someone who also had a dad who bounced between laughably ridiculous and wildly evil my whole life.
Can I just explain it to those who might just be chiming in for their first time for Keith and the Girl? Keith's dad, a couple of months ago, emailed his ex, Catherine, out of nowhere. They had been divorced for 2 years. Keith's dad said to Catherine, "Hey, how's it been going? What happened between you and my son?" Catherine sent it to Keith saying, "Hey, your dad's being crazy again, and I'm not your wife anymore, so I don't give a shit." So Keith goes, "Since you're not my wife and you don't give a shit, I'm going to pretend to be you and have some correspondence with my dad as you." That happened. 2 months later, we have such brilliant back and forth. Basically, Dad calling her beautiful and lovely and giving advice on how to get back to Keith. Then Kat ups it up and says, "Hey, I might be in love with you." And then Dad goes, "Well, this happens, but we have to maintain." And she goes, "Well, I guess you've been thinking the same thing." And he goes, "We can't help how we feel, but I have a wife and she's aight." And so there we are.
But I will be honest, he says, you make an old man's libido jingle.
Quote, libido jingle. Our guest is already throwing up, which is perfect timing to continue this email.
Amanda continues, I just never had the chance to set up an elaborate scheme, so living vicariously through you will have to do. I think the feelings word that Chemda and Andrea were looking for is contempt.
Because I asked Keith, like, how do you process this? How do you, like, I understand that you're over your dad and, like, you're done feeling anything for him,
Right.
but what happened to even get that way?
I could see the word contempt.
Contempt?
Yeah, like it means it's not a, it sounds like a bigger word than it is, but it, like you're angry or, you know, you have contempt for the court, but it just means you dismiss it. It's not on your level.
Let me define it for you,
Sure.
since we're doing that. The feeling that a person or a thing is beneath consideration, worthless, or deserving scorn.
Exactly. When you've had decades to observe and analyze a relationship from a negative lens that itself is a grieving period, you don't need to have a big realization period because you probably had it several times over growing up. You know what? You know what's another feelings word? Skeevy.
Huh. Yeah, but if your dad makes you feel skeevy, how does that make you feel? You know what I mean?
You want to humiliate and ridicule a man that abused your whole family, and it is glorious. He deserves worse, honestly. If fathers knew there were consequences for their actions, maybe so many of them wouldn't be trash bags.
That's wrong, but snaps.
I've said this for years. Treat people as if they're able to rate a book.
Treat people as if podcasting might exist for a while.
Right. Everyone is so Everyone is so programmed to put their parents on a pedestal that when we reject them, nobody can believe how easy it can be. I still have family members who want to have serious conversations about how much I must miss my dad and how devastating it must be. Sometimes things aren't that deep. We don't constantly have to search for and dig up feelings that aren't there. Keep doing the real Lord's work. My dad was a priest, or was he? For all of us with shitty dads out there, you are a genius, an innovator, and a legend. Thank you. That's very
Nice.
sweet.
And I also want to remind people that sometimes when you say, and I know I've said this before, like, "Oh, but he's your dad." Imagine the neighbor next to you that you've always hated, that, like, you know, was harassing your daughter, that was, you know, just a piece of shit about his lawn or his garbage or whatever. And then, you know, did I say this on the show? My parents love Trump. I just found out over the weekend, apparently Israel really likes Trump.
Yeah, sure. They put embassy in Jerusalem, which was a big deal.
Yeah. So Trump was like, "Yeah, you want an embassy in Jerusalem? Yeah, go ahead."
Right.
And so they built a monument in my parents' neighborhood. My parents sent a picture of it to my brother Michael, and I think to also Maricela, who is Cuban and Mexican. and they were like, "Look at this, it's in our neighborhood." And my brother was like, I hope he gets jail time for the shit that he said.
Right.
I can't believe that you're sending me this and expecting me to cheer. I will not participate with this with you. And like he, you know, said all that stuff, but they were like,
Yeah.
Trump is great. And so I want you to remember when people go like, oh, you have to talk to your parents because that's how some people feel. They are your parents. Just remember, this could be a Trump supporter. It could be a Nazi supporter. It could be the local KKK. That's somebody's dad. Putting sperm into a vagina does not make you any kind of heroic anything. A lot of times it just makes you shitty and you came too quick.
Juan says, Dear Keith, I've been listening to the show since the Pod Show contract days.
Yes.
This was the first episode I ever had to immediately listen to again. What in the actual fuck?
Wait, which episode was he referring to?
The latest episode about the dad's emails.
Okay.
About the emails. 3130, he says. My emotions ranged from anger, why is he treating you like an idiot, to laughter, sandwich daddy.
Ew.
To eventual sadness, no, son, $450 per show. I pity your father's delusions. That said, I think his life story is all on the table. How are you sure he was even a priest? A part of me thinks he grew up in an orphanage. That's why you never saw the rest of the family. He was daydreaming of exciting lives.
Yeah, orphans know their family more than he does.
Right. And Finger Lake says, not related. Let's see. He says this weekend, he played shows, Keith and the Girl shows, for his friends that didn't know about Keith and the Girl. He said, I played Not Your Father's Sexual Position. That's the name of the episode. And parts of Jingle Hell for the friends. And man, y'all asked what it's like for people just joining the show now. And they were dumbfounded and fucking hooked. I hope they start to listen on their own.
That's Finger Lakes?
Yep.
You're my favorite. That is the way to do it. Thank you for spreading the word.
I was at the restaurant the other day, and I saw on the whiteboard 86, and it had all this list of food. I'm like, my dad would think the food's fucking each other.
Yeah. His dad decided that 86 was a sexual position.
Because it was in Knockcat's email. All right, let's get right to it. Today's guest, my favorite and yours, Voice of Mercy in Overwatch, featured on Showtime's Homeland. And the one-woman shows are Cry Me a Liver and Hi Hitler. We'll tell you about the new one. Lucie Pohl. How you doing, Lucie?
I'm good. I also always thought 86 was a sexual position.
Oh, yeah?
No,
Yeah?
it's not true. But I did used to think that nearby is pronounced Nerby.
Nerby. That's fair.
You think that's fair?
You're still smarter than Keith's dad.
Nerby? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Woo.
You're still all
I'm
right.
so relieved.
Last time you were on, we were talking about you were single, and Hemda was as well. And you both knew. No more men.
Yeah.
I'm my own person.
Yeah.
I don't need validated.
No.
I validate me.
Exactly.
You're both with people now.
Yes.
What does he
There's
do?
no excuse.
What does he do?
He's an actor. I'm sorry.
Does that scare you?
Yeah.
What is it? Why should we be nervous about dating actors?
It's just actors, fucking actors.
They're liars, right?
They're liars. They're
It's like, here's how I
cheats,
feel.
They're no. They're
the better they are at their job, the less that's in their brain, right? So that they can fill it up with a new person.
Yes, and that's true, and that's why I'm such a good actor.
Does he do voiceover work also?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Let me tell you something. This is so funny to me because I saw some I think it was Overwatch, a panel that you were on, and they bring out these voice actors one at a time.
Yeah.
And you all happen to be gorgeous. You would think.
Yeah.
You would think, if anything, maybe they happen to be uglier because God gave them a voice gift.
Yeah.
Like they know you're going to come on these panels and everybody has to be pretty.
Yeah,
Right.
you would think you would save the voiceover jobs for the uggos.
Right.
Well, that's what they say, right? You've got a face for radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody was pretty.
Everybody's pretty on the cast. It's true. You're right.
How long have you guys been dating?
I don't know why I'm internally I'm like shrinking right now.
Did you two never have that conversation? Is that what's nerve-wracking?
Oh shit, we're dating. No, we did. We had the talk, which
Right.
my friend was like, "You have to have the talk," and I didn't know what the talk was because I never really dated. Like I was always just in relationships.
Okay.
And we never had to have the talk, but I had the talk.
Are you a
with
good
him.
dater? Are you
no.
good on dates?
No. I realized I have really bad social anxiety. I've just found like a really crazy way to deal with it, which is to like
Do
full
voices.
force go into the fucking fear and be like, I'm here. But like,
Oh, are you are you a little manic on dates?
I'm a manic everywhere I go.
What are you doing?
Hey, you well, want to have the pizza? But like, I lock myself in bathrooms at parties and stuff just to be like away from people.
So you're the asshole making a line for him.
Yeah, exactly. But I pretend that I've like peed, not pooped.
Uh-huh.
Right.
You can't
I
take
just
too
stay
long.
in there long enough that like you can't definitely say I've pooped.
You ever have to stay in there too long because you're already in there too long? Like
Yeah,
I
that's the
can't
thing.
come out now.
You're right. Now you have to wait for everybody for that
leave.
round to leave so they don't know. Totally. And I'm a bad dater and I have a boyfriend and I'm not nervous about it and everything's going to be okay. Yeah, no.
How was the talk?
The talk was good. We were hammered. So
Okay.
that was good. And I was like, I don't think we should talk about this now. We're drunk. And he was like, do you think any love song was written sober? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Hey, baby, we got all our creative juices going.
Right. So does that mean we're dating? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And that was it.
Who
That
said
was that.
who said what? Because asking as an adult, it doesn't feel any different than a 12-year-old. Just,
Yeah.
so you're my boyfriend, right? Shut up.
Right.
It's
Shut up.
so weird.
It
It's
is
so
weird.
weird. And still saying that is just like to other people even. Like I have the boyfriend.
Yeah,
People are
even,
like, what the hell is
even,
wrong with you?
Kyle and I. So this is a little over a year ago. She knows that I was dating other people, and so she's so she came over and then said we ate, and it was understood we were going to have sex, and she said actually if we're going to have sex, I don't want you having sex with other people, but
Yeah.
I'll still hang out tonight since I'm here. And it's like, first of all, no, you wouldn't have. I know you wouldn't have. Yeah, I'm
Which is
still going to
fair.
fuck other people. Let's watch a TV. You absolutely wouldn't have. But I go, okay, you know what? It's a deal. And I pull my hand out, and she shakes
No.
it, and then that's how we were a couple.
Aw.
Well, I felt like an
That's so
idiot.
cute.
I was just like, I think I just want you to be my boyfriend if you're into that.
Oh, you said that?
Something like that. Yeah, it was so corny.
Like Rocky.
And then I could see him trying.
if you don't mind too much.
Right. I feel like such an idiot. How do people do this all the time?
Right.
And I'm like, and this, we like already love each other because we've been friends. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, why am I even nervous? Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And so I say it, and then I could see him trying not to roll his eyes. Like, why do you think this is such a big deal? Like, yeah,
Right.
of course I want to be your boyfriend. But he was so nice about it. But then he waited a second and then went, so what, you want like my class ring or something?
Dork.
yeah. And then he called me a dork for a week.
That's so cute. Yeah, I think I went a little bit. I was like, I think it's obvious that I'm in love with you. And I was like, oh my God, what did I just
I just wanted to go steady.
Why does everything have to be like the Titanic? You know what I mean? Like that's the problem when two actors date each other.
Right.
It's like you cry all the time and you laugh and then you're like, I love you. And then you're like, wait, I don't want to talk to you for a weak because I'm busy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We're
It's
going to
like-
need a bigger heart. You start doing
Yeah.
scenes from movies.
Yeah, basically. It's like schizophrenia.
It's
But
so funny
yeah.
that people don't want to date people in their own industry because they know the shit things about it. Like so many comics are like, rule number 1,
Yeah.
don't date other comics. And
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the shit.
I
Yeah.
think it's because we're comics. I think every job probably says that. Firemen don't date firemen.
Yeah.
Don't date chefs. Don't
Yeah.
date
You
bus
think?
boys.
Really?
They probably say about their own
Financial people
institution.
tend to stick with each other
They do, but they don't recommend
because they don't
it.
have a heart.
Right.
So they're like, "Mwah, mwah, mwah, mwah. Oh, hello, robot. I love you too.
How long have you two been together?
3 months, I guess.
okay.
Oh my God, I can't talk. It's so weird. 3 months.
Isn't it funny that like as adults we're feeling this? I
Right.
know like if there are kids listening now and we keep telling you it gets better, it does because you get to spend your money on whatever you want,
Right.
but you also have to make that money. And everything else is the same.
It's true.
How do you
still
say?
have to like clean your room and shit.
How do you say?
Still
It gets,
get an ass fucked whether you're 12 or 25.
it gets better, but you have to buy your own socks. What?
Yeah, you know how like you hate
Oh my
when people
God,
get you
socks.
socks for Christmas?
What? Oh my God.
Now you want it.
So my ex, who I'd broken up with the last time I was here, the Scottish guy.
The poor soul. Never saw it
he-
coming.
Yeah. He tried to get me back, and to get me back, he sent me a package for Christmas, and in it was
His heart.
a Charlie Chaplin mustache, like a fake mustache.
You love that stuff.
But Charlie Chapman mustache is also a Hitler,
Hitler mustache, exactly.
Okay, okay. You
a-
did have a show that said
Hi, Hitler. It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
A bar of chocolate bar, and a 6-pack of white cotton sports socks.
So for sure you know not to go back.
Marks and Spencer.
What is Marks and Spencer?
It's like a fancy store in London.
I've never seen you wear white socks ever.
Are you fucking crazy? I don't wear fucking sport like.
Look at
No.
that. Brooklyn's coming out. What are you fucking nuts?
No. Socks? Also like socks, a mustache, and chocolate? That's like sick, man. What is happening?
Is it a riddle?
Yeah, right? I was like, what the I kept looking at it. I was like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Did the chocolate have any significance? Like your favorite chocolate? Or?
No, I don't even like chocolate. Like I like dark chocolate, but
Me
he
too.
sent me butterscotch milk chocolate.
I hate milk chocolate. I'll pass over the
Yeah,
chocolate,
me
most
too.
likely.
Me
Well, anyway,
too.
do you call the police? Like, what do you do?
The Hitler mustache was...
I was thinking maybe he wanted, that was like a sexual fantasy. He wanted to see me with the mustache and the socks, like eating chocolate. Like,
Okay.
no.
Well, good you left him. Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like the beginning of a Hitler outfit.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
You're right. He had a sock fetish. He would give people socks for Christmas. And I always
No.
told him, don't do that.
Right.
Don't. And he'd be like, why not? Everybody needs socks then, eh? Whatever, bad accent, but.
No.
And as you
And-
pass people, like, look, another person with socks. Oh, what a surprise! Another
Yeah.
person with
So
socks.
then he gave my sister, my family's like super intellectual, right? And he's like, I've got this for your sister for Christmas. And I'm like, socks? Please don't give my sister socks. Please don't give anybody in my family socks. Just give her a book, like Kafka would be great, you
Right.
know? And then he's like, no, I bought these for her. They're for her. And I'm like,
But you don't even
"Fuck,
know her,
man."
so how do you know her sock situation?
So anyway, he gives my sister the fucking socks, and I'm like this. I'm like, oh, you're gonna see. You're gonna see how she's gonna react. And what does she do? She goes, oh my god, I love this. I need socks. Oh my god, I never have socks. Thank you.
No.
Right.
Is she an actor too?
Yeah.
Oh,
she's-
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. What are you supposed to do? Someone's looking you in the face like, huh?
Right.
Huh?
Is he all proud of himself? Like when he watches you open it?
Yeah.
He's like, mm-hmm. Go ahead, you'll see.
Got you some socks there.
What do you say when you open the package? Do you write him back? Like, and that's why I fucked your friends? What do you do?
Oh, thank you. One pair for every friend of yours. I blew.
But it is interesting for a girlfriend to say, hey, you're going to my family. Let's not get, let's just not.
That's okay.
Of course that's
Isn't
okay. Especially when you give an alternative,
Yeah.
And I would sooner be like, don't bring anything. We're going to Christmas. We're adults.
Yeah.
If you want, bring it for the nephew or something. You can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a
so-
brother that loves flashlights. Like, that's his thing.
Really?
He
That's
collects
awesome.
them, loves them. But he thinks that must mean we all do. And he always gives the flashlights as gifts.
Oh my god, that's so great.
And then he's
I
like
love
showing it
that.
off, like this one is an LED blinker, and this one is a sidewinder,
Oh,
flash pan.
no.
And I'm like, what are, great.
Oh,
Great, but
that's
I have
cute.
10 now.
And I have one on my phone.
Right.
And I have one in my ass.
He doesn't even go camping.
right,
That's
right.
so funny.
What do you use the flashlights for?
I mean, I guess we all have our collections, but I'm like, great. And you know what it is also? It's wrapped up like a flashlight. Here, guess what it is?
No.
When I turned 21, I was dating this guy who was like 33.
That's appropriate.
And yeah, right. And he called me. I was in, I think, we were celebrating in the park.
Also,
and he was
you look young on top of that.
yeah.
It's very
Yeah,
interesting.
he was a pedophile.
okay.
No, I don't know. But so he calls me. I'm at my birthday party, and he calls me. He's like, "Hey, I'm in the store, and I don't know what to get you."
Ew.
And I was like, "Just fucking come. I don't care. Just
Right.
don't get me anything. Just come.
Don't
you
get
know?
me whining over the phone.
Yeah, exactly. So he shows up, and he has a huge present with him, and he's like, "Here." And I open it, and all my friends are around me. Everyone's 21 except this motherfucker.
Right.
And I open the present, and it's a gigantic, pepper mill. Like an oversized,
No.
I didn't even know how to fry an egg when I was 21. I swear to God, all I ate was fucking pasta with ketchup on it and Gouda, shredded Gouda cheese that I bought in a package. I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? Fucking beat you over the head with it? And he was like, that was really expensive.
Ew.
So I always thought that was the worst present an ex-boyfriend had ever given me.
It'd be funny if at this party people are eating pizza or whatever, and you start bringing the peppermill over,
By the way,
both hands hugging it.
at what age do you understand what not to do for a birthday
A
for
giant
your partner?
pepper mill?
Calling you on the phone. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Tell me what to do.
Oh my God.
33 years old to a 21-year-old. You're not embarrassed.
Yeah.
Maybe that was his way of going, should have told me.
No, and maybe that was his way of trying to like get on my level. He's like, she's a little baby. I have to be like that too.
Then he should have called his mom. Mommy, I don't know. She's hot and 21, so I got to keep her. Pepper?
All right, let me mention this, and then we'll get to some emails. How do you make sure that you don't hire any of these wackos for your job? You know what I mean? When I talk about my dad, when I talk about Lucie's exes, these people are out there.
And they're people's dads.
And you're trying to, fill up your workplace with competent people. You don't know. They write in a resume, here's my lies. And you're like, looks like good lies. You're hired and you're stuck with that person. And you got to go through a month process to get rid of them. Let ZipRecruiter do the work for you.
Yep.
They recruit. Zip, zip.
Yes. Zip, zip. Hiring is challenging, but there's one place you can go where hiring is simple, fast, and smart. A place where growing businesses connect to qualified candidates. That place is ZipRecruiter.com/KATG. ZipRecruiter sends your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards. They don't stop there. No. With their powerful matching technology, ZipRecruiter scans thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience and invites them to apply to your job.
Or you can scan the 1,000 resumes. Do you want to do that?
Yeah. As applications come in, ZipRecruiter analyzes each one and spotlights the top candidates so you never miss a match.
This has to be like $1 million.
4 out of 5 of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. But here's the thing,
Sorry,
Kenda.
$2 million.
Right now, try ZipRecruiter for free.
No.
That's the opposite of money.
Free?
You just saved $2 million.
Whoa.
Here's the exclusive web address.
I just want to say that you actually didn't. You didn't.
ZipRecruiter.
That was perfect. Please edit that.
Shh. You're not making the edit easy, Kenda.
I really am not.
Stop. ZipRecruiter.com/KATG. That's ZipRecruiter.com/KATG. One more time, ZipRecruiter.com/KATG. It's the smartest way to hire.
Absolutely.
Okay? It absolutely is.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Mercy.
All right, so here it is. More emails from my dad. The latest being talking about, you know what? Explain Cats in the Cradle and the significance of the great song by Harry Chapin, redone by the even greater Ugly Kid Joe.
Okay, so during the correspondence between Keith's ex, Catherine, otherwise known as Kat, and we call them the not Kath emails. So while Keith is pretending to be Kat, his dad writes to Kat and says, I regretted being on the road. Nobody knows what road this was. I was on the road all the time and I missed time with my kids. And I remember there was this one song, it was my favorite song. And every time it came out, I cried. And it was called, I Want to Be Just Like You, Dad. I want to be just like you.
No.
And it's like, well, I think you're saying Cats in the Cradle and this is your favorite song. Okay, sure. So Kat writes back, not Kat, writes back, oh, do you mean Cats in the Cradle? Because, yeah, I know the remake, Ugly Kid Joe, blah, 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 because Keith is writing that because he's hoping his father Googles Ugly Kid Joe's version because it has a middle finger on the cover. He finds these little LOLs in life. Yeah.
45 years old.
Yeah. So now, cut to Keith gets an email from his dad, separate of all this, like an actual email from his dad to Keith. And he's like, what's up, my beloved son? Totally nothing's happening. I'm just writing for you out of the blue. So Keith and his dad actually starts writing back. His father brings up Cats in the Cradle as if he knows the song, as if he knows there was a remake, acting like he's not picking this up from his ex-wife of 2 years, and just is like, oh, you know Cats in the Cradle like we all do, right? So now this starts a conversation about Cats in the Cradle. Where did you want me to end up on this?
That's it.
Yeah? Okay.
I think that's everything.
So it's just odd that he's like, well, I was talking to someone and they told me about this new version of Cats in the Cradle. So Keith starts writing, who'd you talk to?
Right.
Was it an associate? Because his father never leaves the house, never talks to anybody, never has people over, doesn't really work.
So wait, you have access to her email?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I made
No.
a fake email account.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Okay.
But
All right.
yes, I'm her.
Okay.
So this is between you and Dad.
Well, at first, my dad was in the hospital recently, and he got another.
Do you care when you get that?
No.
No?
No, he's always in the hospital. He's always getting stents. He's always having a heart problem. His whole life, he told us he was going to die. So I'm like, okay. No, tell me there's feelings there, please. No.
I've been ready for him to die.
He wrote to all of us, I would like to thank each of you for your kind prayers and concern for my well-being. Okay, we all feel the same way, by the way. These are the people that go on social media and go, thanks for all the birthday wishes, and I check, and there were none.
That's sort of like they remind you to.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh no, that's true. Oh God.
For those who haven't, you may begin now. Apparently, it's all of you. I am a whole lot better now. When I drove myself to the hospital, they said that my blood pressure...
Oh, sorry. The wording is perfect.
Yeah.
When I drove myself to the hospital aching in pain.
They said that my blood pressure was 30 BPM. The norm is about 69 to 70 BPM.
Ooh, he used the word 69.
They put a new stent, he means stent, of course, in an artery around the heart. They said... Now, he always says this when he gets his stents, that this is what they said. They said that it was 95% blocked, and that had it not been done then, I was days away, at the most, from eternity.
Yeah.
No.
I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah.
That's very dramatic. It's
Yeah.
95% blocked, but you drove yourself to the hospital.
From eternity. That's amazing. That's amazing.
I look forward...
You should say, "Oh man, I'm so sorry, Dad. You missed out on eternity."
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I look forward to eternity in heaven, but
Don't we all?
But I would like to finish my book and make a seminar on it before I leave this earth.
Oh, I didn't read this part. What?
No idea what he's talking about.
Oh,
No one
you
asks
didn't know
him.
that he's writing a book?
Nope. And no one followed up to what obviously is bait.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a seminar. What does he think a seminar is nowadays?
I look forward to eternity in heaven, but I would like to finish my book and make a seminar on it before I leave this earth.
Yeah,
I know-
your email is 95% blocked from me now.
I now have 8 stints around the heart and 1 in my leg.
Whoa.
Thanks again. Happy 4th of July.
Have another yodel.
Right.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
So
So nobody cares about this seminar book
Right.
thing.
So ever since the love letters between Not Cat and my dad, it's been me going by Keith, talking to my dad. Okay. So I wrote.
This is back. You're writing back to what he wrote to all of you guys.
Yes.
Keith.
Okay.
Yeah.
As Keith.
Okay.
These are all going to be from the real me. Good to hear you're out of the hospital and had the wherewithal to get checked out. Congrats. In the email, though, that you wrote last, I'm confused. I assume you're saying... Also, if you remember, he said about the... he goes... I don't know. He said Cats in the Cradle was a great song. Don't be like that to these new kids with your new girlfriend. You know, always lessons. And just make sure that you're there for them. I don't know about the remake, though. But I didn't talk to him about a remake. Fake Catherine talked to him about the remake.
So he's cross-pollinating.
Yes. I said, in this email, I'm confused. I assume you're saying Harry Chapin must have written the song. Who's the person you're communicating with about Cats in the Cradle? I'd love to hear how that came up. You're such an exciting mystery.
Oh my God.
We got to see some fireworks. Not really my thing, but when in Rome, welcome back. So now I want to know, what are you going to do when I go, who are you talking to
Like
about
you want to
this
know
song so much?
You want to know if he picks a lie or if he picks skipping it all together.
Yes.
Like, how does he respond? Because you know it's not going to be the truth.
Right. Thanks, he says. You should have known.
By the way, Julia's writing in BPM is not how blood pressure is measured. It's always 2 numbers, like 120 over 80.
well,
That's true, yeah.
well, his was 120 over 80. The norm is 6 million over a billion.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks. You should have known that person that he's communicating to. You should have known that person I trust very well for 3 years, and I guessed at least quite well for much longer.
This is a riddle?
Huh?
That's funny you say that. I do not think that you knew that person anywhere near as well as you thought that you did
Ooh,
before you got married.
Shots fired.
Because even though the emails between us started where I was trying to get you two back together again and dismiss Kyle, who I met, now I realize she has the hots for your father. So she's not a proper woman after all. Like
Wow.
he turned.
That's what you mean. What you think he means.
Yes, he turned it
Like,
from,
oh, you think you
She's
knew
a
Cat.
wonton.
They were both into each other, obviously, but time went by and he knows it's getting out of control. So now all he's going to let himself remember
She's a harlot.
is that she's a whore.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he
Wow.
loves whores.
Right, of course. Yeah.
I do not.
In eternity, especially.
Right.
Eternity whores.
So I'm going to read this one more time, see if this makes sense to you. Thanks. You should have known that person, obviously Kat. But
Yeah, but not obvious to you.
but not obvious to me, right? You should have known that person I trust very well for 3 years, and I guess at least quite well for much longer.
Now, he's not reading this in some weird cadence. This is the cadence that it's
Yeah.
written in, and also when you meet his dad, it's the cadence he talks in.
He invested in commas, and he gets paid every time he pauses. I do not think that you knew this person anywhere near as well as you thought that you did before you got married. I am glad, for your sake, that you have moved on, even though at that time that may not have been your choice. God works in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform.
Well.
So,
Well, didn't he wrap that up?
so I wrote back, is this a riddle?
Yeah.
Nice.
He wrote back, no riddle.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow. That's epic.
Yeah, but then he put like an empty crossword and just said, go for it.
What? No riddle.
How dare he, in the middle of your ex is hitting on him because he thinks that's real. By the way, he's 80 years old, never did a minute of exercise, has 50 stints in his heart. But this 30-year-old who was literally in fucking every magazine about her entrepreneurial fucking shit is gorgeous and with someone. But yeah, she's in love with me. Totally reasonable.
It's possible.
Yeah. No, it's possible. And she's a whore. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't help it. But how dare you, in the middle of that, be the kind of father that goes, that girl, you're lucky that she moved on. Why is this time for this weird dishonesty and this vague bullshit? You're a gossiping bitch.
And I end up talking about this, but he loves, like, he can't tell me because it'll be weird. It'll be off-putting. Who knows if I'll push it and find out the truth about him and my ex. But still, he wants me to know he knows something.
It's kind of like when you were a kid and he was reading the newspaper and no one was in the same room, but he'd be like holding the newspaper and go, ha! What? Wow, really?
Yeah.
What? Are you asking me about it? No. Like literally,
Yeah.
would
My
just
mom does that. She'll go, and you're like, and she'll go, so funny. So funny. Until you're like, what is it? What are you reading? She's like, oh, you want to know? Oh.
great communication skills.
Yeah.
So now, I don't know if this is going to be the end or what, but I'm like, okay, you know what? Fuck off. I know even less, this is me writing. I know even less about something the more you pretend to say. What country my great-grandparents were from, who my extended family was and what they were like, when and how you became a priest, those road trips you were talking about, and now something about my ex-wife out of nowhere. What is it that you get off on telling people, what is it you get off on letting people know you know things they don't, but you still don't say? You always had to be the smartest person in the room. What is the need to tell me you know something and then not tell me?
Yes.
You love your secrets, but you also can't help yourself by letting people know that you have them. This is nothing new and maybe something you might want to look at for yourself. Or don't. Honestly, it doesn't affect me anymore, but it is interesting. Send.
How did you feel about
no
that?
reply?
There's replies.
Okay.
I don't mean to ask you how you feel, but how did
Sure,
you feel about that?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
I enjoyed it.
Okay. Like, here's some straightforward shit.
Yeah.
Even though you're my dad and are always evasive, I'm going to be as clear as
I
possible.
feel
Yes.
like I do feel like you missed an opportunity to write that whole thing in riddle form, though.
Right. When one
Road trips so many. What were they? Would give anything for a penny to know. We're not friend or foe. Is it though you are my dad?
I have questions 3.
Just like confuse the fuck out of him. Or maybe that would make him give you like a straight answer.
Right,
He's
right.
like, oh, I get this. He's like, oh, yeah.
Seminary, 17 to 25.
Yeah, exactly.
So he writes back, and he's writing fast now. Usually he takes time. What are you so angry about?
Wow.
I just said we've all told you how
It's
to
head
communicate with
fuckery.
us if you want to. What are you so angry about?
Wow. You were so clear what you were angry about.
Right.
It's when people say, what are you so angry about? It's like, you have no right to be angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you so angry about?
My father's a douche.
You are the one who asked me, what are you so angry about? That you're in my blood. What am I so angry about?
Keith did one of those ancestries with like a crossed fingers, like please no, please no, please no.
Yeah. By the way, I found out more about my past from a spit test than I did my dad. But anyway, it comes back, I'm Eastern European and then some other information. 1% European Jewish. And one of my siblings tells my dad that and he goes, "No! There's no percent Jewish." Like, okay. No one fucked a Jew. No way. No way. What are you angry about?
You know what? I'm not a violent person, but anyone who gets like a clear message about what someone's angry about them and goes, "What are you so angry about?" You can punch that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you angry about? You're the one who asked me, who told me about Cats in the Cradle being remade.
Right. I asked you a question.
Any question you ask me directly, I have answered you.
You must ask it directly in this form.
If you ask me, did I whack off to your ex-wife? I will tell you, yes. Just ask.
Oh my God.
Just ask me.
You actually did ask. You said very clearly, who did you get that
did you
information?
talk to? Yeah.
Any question you ask me directly, I have answered you. It seems that you simply do not like the answer or where that answer may lead.
Oh God.
Wow.
Oh,
If you
gosh.
push it, I will tell you that we've been coming.
He loves drama and like why dramatize?
Yes.
Because if this is real, if his ex is in love with his father, then you're telling it in the most dramatic, most gossipy way as
Yeah.
an ex-priest and a current highly believed Christian, whatever the fuck that's called.
Please do not blame me if you do not like the answer or where it leads. The fact is that I do know things that you don't.
Don't blame me. Don't blame me for marrying this whore. I told you there was an age difference.
Oh my God.
I know things you don't.
So disgusting. So disgusting.
Okay.
I wouldn't even say that to somebody I hate.
Right.
Like I wouldn't bother going like, I know something you don't. What do you want, a playground? What the fuck is wrong with you? Go outside, old man.
I'm nearly 80 years old, remember? That gives me a head start on certain matters.
No, it doesn't make you smarter. I don't know how to tell you that.
That's why open communication is necessary between children and their parents. That is also the reason that aged people are greatly respected in foreign cultures.
In foreign cultures.
But you know, my mom does this. I'll be like, "Oh, that's weird. That thing you're inviting me to is on a Wednesday." And she'll go, "No, darling, it's on a Friday." And I'm like, "I'm looking at the calendar. It's actually a Wednesday." And she'll be like, "Honey, it's not, okay?" And I'm like, "No, Mom, it is. I'm looking at the calendar." She'll be like, "I'm a little bit older than you." What does that have to do with anything?
I never tried to hide anything about myself or your ancestry from you. But again, you did not seem to desire to hear it because it had certain implications that affected your own life that you did not seem to be desirous of facing.
What does that mean?
I'll tell you what I think it
And
means.
also, why can't he contract fucking words?
Right.
Yeah.
Why not? Are you on Star Trek? What's going on?
Picture this book.
Are you on Star Trek?
Are you a robot? Like what? Why can't you contract words?
I thought my answer was obvious. You were married just once, weren't you?
So it was a riddle.
Yeah, right. But what I think
You should write back, "Was I?"
Right. He says something later that I'll read to you, but I believe when he says you didn't want to hear about your ancestors because it affected your life in a way you didn't want to face.
I didn't
I
understand.
think he's saying because I mentioned to my family that I realized I'm an alcoholic and I quit drinking. I think he's saying I mentioned when you were young you had ancestors that had a drinking problem, but you didn't want to deal with that. Do you see what I'm saying? He's taking this information that I gave him and putting a story behind it that never happened. He never knew I had a drinking problem because I was never in the house doing it. And I never called him, I never interacted with him in that way. I understand, if you're a drunk, you probably don't know who knows, but I promise you, my dad had no idea.
No, not, and it's, even if he did, again, it is the most dramatic way to warn somebody about alcohol.
Right.
And also, I have been around when you asked him about the alcoholism in your family, and both your parents just get super upset. One cries, and they're like, no, everything's
Right.
fine. And then, sometimes they leak out. I don't know if your parents do this, but my parents do this too. everything's fine, but every once in a while the truth leaks out because I don't know, like it like overflows in them, and they're like, well, so and so, we had some trouble on this end with him, and I'm like, am I getting information? And then they just kind of shut down or like fade away. Like, no, we're not talking about that. So every time you ask about alcoholism in your family, or even like what their parents were like or what their upbringing were like, it's like, son, it's fine, and I don't know why you're being invasive about our life, and I don't know who needs to know and who's asking and why are you telling them.
60 Minutes called Dad. They're curious about my grandparents.
Like down to, and both of our, because you're an immigrant too, and I feel like, and your parents are not, because I thought this was an immigrant thing. When you ask them about their health history, like, because your doctor's asking, like, do you have cancer, whatever, I ask my parents, they're like, just mind your own business.
Oh, really?
Like, it's embarrassing to have diabetes or something.
My dad's actually type 1 diabetic, and my
You're saying that and tell Mike?
Yeah, but my parents are overshare. They like overshare. They tell us too much. Like, we knew everything growing up.
Well, it was
too
like
much.
a couple things that were way too much.
Just like their fights, we would hear all their fights, all their money problems, always like, oh, we don't have money. We don't have enough money to pay for your school. We don't have enough money for this, that. Like, stuff where you're like, I'm 7.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I don't know what to say to you right now.
Did they fight dirty or well or just too much?
No, like screaming. They used to scream and throw shit, and my dad would like punch holes into the wall, and yeah.
I gotta be honest. I can't play Overwatch the same way again. Hey, that's some information.
Damaged.
That's a lot. And, they say a lot of times, like, you don't recognize the abuse in that because if they're not punching each other.
Yeah.
But, like, you throwing something across the room or punching the wall is, I mean, I get it's not the same as hitting me, but it's that same, like, scary.
Yeah. I had like an intermittent boyfriend between this one and the last one, and we broke up, and he, like, started screaming at me, like screaming at the top of his lungs.
Like during the breakup?
Yeah, he was like, ah! And I felt myself go into that place that I would go into when I was a kid, where I was like, please don't scream. Like, I just I was like, please don't scream, please don't scream, please don't scream.
And you ran into the bathroom, locked the door.
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's he screaming about? Nobody will love you the same.
I don't know what he said. I just heard the like volume and the tone, and I totally like went into that place.
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird.
So I don't write back, and then he starts sending a couple emails, one after the other. You are now going to learn about my entire past. You ready?
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
As for your grandparents, it is a very complicated issue.
How?
Very good. Very good. Son, I always told you things. You would just ask me. All right, my grandparents. Very complicated. It's a very complicated issue. I did not make the situation so.
Oh, it's not my fault?
It's not his fault that my grandparents had a complication about where they're from. Don't blame him.
Who's blaming anyone?
Yeah.
Somebody just wants
Just
to
ask. Exactly.
Hey, where are you from? Shut the fuck up!
Yeah, it's not my fucking fault that I don't have an American passport. Okay, dude.
He didn't make the situation so. He didn't have a time machine make his parents.
Yeah.
If you look at a map before 1945, the answer...
Why? Why?
So they're what, Prussian? Are they were from Poland, but they were German?
Oh, I like that you're trying. This
I'm
is
trying.
great.
What is he talking about? The map before World War II.
Look, I'm still from a place.
right.
No matter what you call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can wrap my head around it. If you look at a map before 1945, the answer is one thing. After 1945, it's another. The outcome of World War II and redistricting made all the difference. Our ancestors came from a huge region that was known as Subcarpathia Rus.
Does this sound? Do you know this situation? I
Yeah.
never heard. What is that?
Well, it's like basically Russia. It's like the Carpathian Mountains, right?
Specifically, Ruthenia, the southern part of the very vast area known as the Carpathian Mountains.
Yeah.
It covered many different countries. Maps after 1945 listed as Ukraine, Belarus, parts of Russia, parts of the Czech Republic, parts of Slovakia, parts of Bulgaria, and parts of Hungary.
Turkey.
But never Jews.
What?
No.
No.
Okay. Oh my God. I was like, what?
17,000 places, but never a Jew was met by any member of our family.
Meanwhile, he's saying that World War II affected where you're from.
Holy shit.
Right.
You know, my dad once told his mom that he had done some research and he thought he had found that they were Jewish. And she said, why do you always have to drag everything through the dirt?
Aren't you Jewish?
My mom's side.
Yeah.
My dad's German.
Ah.
Yeah. Fucking crazy.
Depending on which nation was in charge of the area at any given time, was the language that the people were forced to speak at that time.
What language did your parents speak? Let's go one generation.
Yeah.
i.e.
Did it sound grutzy, grutzy, grutzy? Or did it sound more like, you know?
i.e. Hungarian, Slovak, Ruthenian, Russian, etc. This is why your grandfather Mally spoke 7 different languages, all of which he mastered by the time he was 8 years old.
Why do you know that? Why do you know that? Why is that the information?
So answering your questions without being specific.
What are the 8 languages? Name one!
So answering your questions without being specific is not avoiding your question. There simply is no easy answer. Did Ruth
You
think-
had, how old are you, 45?
Yeah.
You've had 45 years to clear this up. You're writing a goddamn book. Write a book about where you're from.
Yeah.
Right. Did Ruthenia really exist? Ukrainians like to say no. However, the 44th element on the periodic table of elements is named Ruthenia, after the region where your grandparents lived and where it was discovered.
I'm buying this book.
Oh my
Ruthenians had their own language, dress, customs, religious practices, and mores. What else would you like to know?
Oh, that's like customer service going like, can I help you with
Yes.
anything else?
And you're like, no.
No, you didn't help me with the first
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
How else may I please you today? Now, another email.
Before you answer.
Yeah, before I answer.
Each question gets its own email. Each question is its own riddle.
I graduated
Whoa,
high school.
I'm about to have an anxiety attack.
Yeah. I was reading some of this and I'm just like, this is exhausting. I'm
Whoa,
not sure
yeah.
if I'm reading this right. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
We should call your dad the Riddler.
Yes. I graduated high school at 17. I attended Youngstown State University for 1 year and 1 summer, and then went into the seminary, where I started my second scholastic seminary year, receiving credit for the first college year at Youngstown State, where I had majored in chemistry and business. I did poorly my first semester in the seminary, so much so that I had to make it up during the following 3 summers so that I could receive my bachelor's degree.
What'd you do poorly in?
No, he got his bachelor's in evasive communication.
Like, no wonder he got bad grades. It's like, well, where was Jesus born? Well, it's complicated.
Yeah.
Any F was required by the seminary to be made up by getting A's in 3 additional courses.
So you got an F?
I had to
But you got an F in trying to love Jesus? What? Aren't you supposed to be called into this?
Yeah.
Where's the F coming from?
that's so true.
I had
Shouldn't
to
God be
And
telling
isn't
you the
God-
answers?
But isn't God also gonna like lead your hand?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't God have circled the right answer during the test? Like
Right.
divine intervention. What's
Surely
it for?
If you get an F, then that means God doesn't want you.
Right. God is
Yeah.
saying F yourself.
God is saying go away.
I had to complete 12 additional courses to fulfill that requirement.
You are bad at school.
No small feat. I took educational courses because, at the time, I thought that I can get A's in those, easier than in such things as advanced math or chemistry.
So you tried to skate through seminary?
But if you had to take 12 additional courses, that means he failed 4 classes.
Yeah, F.
Yeah,
F in 4
F.
classes because a D sounds like it's passing.
He wanted things easier than chemistry, so he majored in chemistry. Okay.
Oh, did he said that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who majors in chemistry on a whim? You know what? It's math. I bet I'm good at that.
In the process,
Oh, and in the last email, he said something about the periodic table.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows.
Ruthenia. It's the 44th element.
Wow, Lucy.
I'm sorry. I remember shit like that.
Shit, that's very weird.
we also just said it.
Yeah.
In the process,
Sorry, Keith. Jesus. I'm in the big picture here. Thank you. I'll tell you all the feelings involved in this.
In the process, I earned a permanent teaching certification
No, you didn't. What is that?
for the state of Ohio.
What does that mean? Here's your permanent teaching certification.
Wait, Ohio?
You know what? Somebody
It makes sense now.
You know what? Somebody
Everybody's crazy
somebody
there.
found. My dad did do some magic show somewhere, and they found an article of my dad, and in it, he obviously told the papers. He's like, I got an honorary degree in parapsychology, so I know.
Oh.
They looked it up. The Youngstown College. They don't. There's no such thing.
Oh, my dad does that. He teaches at like universities, but he only went to school till like 6th grade, and you have to have like a PhD to be like.
How's he doing that?
He just tells them he has it.
Nobody
And then I was
asked?
like, what if they ask you for it? And he's like, you can buy them from Albanians.
No wonder you write shows about your family.
Yeah.
They say the weirdest fucking shit.
Yeah.
I continued on in my theological classes and completed the next 2 years in the seminary with flying colors.
Of course.
Now, that's another favorite phrase of his, if you remember, flying colors. Do you remember he was going to work for the Treasury because he looked up the king of the Treasury, met
The
him,
U.S. Treasury.
and they were going to give him a job, put him on all the monies.
Except Reagan. Oh, Reagan!
Yeah, and then Reagan cut spending.
You know this kind of shit. What did Reagan do that would affect a person getting a job in the U.S. Treasury as anything?
Yeah.
Janitor, perhaps.
No. But he said, you know what? I met with the king of the Treasury.
The
and
king?
The king. And
He said the king?
I don't think he said the king,
Oh,
but
okay.
it was the
He said the head of the U.S. Treasury.
yeah, the head.
Never mind that that's not a detail. You would know the name.
Right. George
Right.
Washington, who? Who did you meet? And he goes, do you remember? He said, and I took the test, passed with flying colors. My personality chart, flying colors. My background check, flying colors. But Reagan. So flying colors, he did a lot of flying colors. Everything was flying colors, this guy. Even when he said he failed, he made it a thing that he was able to do. He goes,
Right.
so I had to make up 12 classes flying colors.
Yeah, flying colors.
They
I
said
failed
that-
with flying colors.
Quite the feat.
Wait a minute.
Quite the feat. I started the 7th year, during which I was named assistant student prefect. It's an honorary title, voted on by the rector.
It's honorary, like, you know how when kids just can't do it?
Right.
And they go, you know what?
Right.
You are probably sick of failing, and this is starting to affect you even more negatively. So here's this cup.
It's an honorary title voted on by the rector, that's the headmaster, and the seminary professors. It was the first time that it was ever given to a 7th year student. Such a designation formerly was always reserved for a student in the 8th year. Flying colors.
Flying colors, baby.
However,
What 8th year? I thought it was 7 years of seminary.
More like lying colors.
oh shit, Maury. However, I left the seminary 2 weeks later, my choice. If you want to know more about my life, just ask.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Oh
whoa,
my
whoa, whoa,
God.
whoa.
Are you interested?
There- It's he's
Just
like,
ask me.
He's
Just
like those,
ask.
those annoying articles where it's like, want to see more? You know what? No, I don't. I don't care what they look like then and now.
There was a murder in our family. Any questions?
If you want to know more, just ask.
Just ask me. You never asked me about
Just
it.
ask the right question at the right time.
Right. I left the seminary 2 weeks later. My choice. If you want to know more of my life, ask. Well, how did you be a priest then?
Yeah, so is he not a priest? Is it 8 years of seminary or 7 years?
But was he a priest when you were growing up? No, of course
No,
not.
no.
No, because he had to give up the priesthood
Yeah.
for
But you can
right.
be. Who can have kids? Which one of these people can have
the
kids?
non-Catholics.
oh,
The head of the Catholic people. But then there's like, who's the one with the other robe?
the
There's-
pastor.
There's deacons. Pastor is another word for
Pastors
priest.
can have kids.
But a non-Catholic pastor can.
Can have kids.
But they don't believe in the right God. So
Obviously.
they can do anything.
Not-
Start
yeah.
jerking off cows. I mean, who cares? You know? Another email.
Wow.
By your words, extended family, in quotes, I suppose you mean your aunts, uncles, and cousins. Both your father's and mother's grandparents, as well as your own parents, were only married once.
Ew!
Oh.
Judgy much?
Yeah.
Like, don't you dare marry this Kyle woman.
I
By
know-
the way, Cody Allen, who's listening and watching live on our YouTube channel under Keith and the Girl, he's saying, Lucie is the perfect guest for this email. And they were all very excited to see you on camera. So check our calendar, keithandthegirl.com/calendar, and you'll be able to join live.
I know next to nothing about mom's sisters and any of their children.
Thanks for mentioning.
Okay?
Thanks for
Okay.
taking the time, by the way.
But just ask.
yeah.
I know next to, but if you want to know more, ask.
They've been married 51 years?
Yep.
51 years. I know nothing about her sisters.
Wait, they're
and
still
her.
married?
Yes.
Oh,
Of course.
okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Once.
Once.
Sorry, we got it right the first time, even though you, like Lucy, who heard yelling all the time. Mom had 4 sisters. The oldest and youngest are still alive. Mom is the youngest. 3 are deceased. 1 lives in West Mifflin.
This
and-
is so fucking cold.
Yeah.
You are writing about your amazing wife and the family that you couldn't give a shit about to your son. So everybody in here is family, and you're like, 2 are dead, 3 are over here. I don't really know anything about them. Fuck them, really. Like, what kind of shithole is this?
The one son just.
Is this how people did confession to him, right? And he's
Yes.
like, oh, he's
No.
doing like 5 Hail Marys for, gotcha gods.
Oh, I guarantee the penance, he made it up. He was more creative than judging Amy when it came to penance.
Yes. Yeah, he did confession with people.
Right, of course.
I mean, according to
Whoa.
him.
Yeah. That one son, one of the sisters of my mom's, that one son just died of liver disease. So that must be Ricky.
So but that's what's interesting.
LOL.
Yeah. And this is where he goes into detail for like the shitbird things. Like here's gossip. Only gossip he highlights.
That one son.
And this guy just died.
Right.
No mercy. Oh my god.
But heroes never die, though.
is the thing. That one son just died of liver disease caused by excessive drinking.
But also, he doesn't say his name. That one son. I like that. That one son. That guy over there.
That sister also had a daughter who committed suicide. And then in parentheses, cause unknown, but we have our guesses. The end.
It's so cold. That's so cold.
We
It's
have
like,
if you want to know our guesses, ask.
Yeah.
Just ask.
Yeah, exactly.
But to
Just
me,
ask.
he's going, I don't know anything about these people. Here's a list of the people who fucked up, though.
Yeah.
And you know where they ended? Death. So, I mean, I guess they're happy in eternity, but not a good road, people.
That sister also had a daughter who committed suicide, cause unknown, but we have our guesses, and a daughter who is alive and conducts yoga classes. That one is 64. A long time ago, we told you about your cousin who just died and that he was an alcoholic and that it was likely going to cost him his life. It did at age 54.
We were right.
Now, do you remember fairly
Death
recently?
accepted.
Fairly recently, when I realized I was an alcoholic, I said, "Who's an alcoholic in our family?" And he said, "Nobody." Now he's been telling me my whole life. He said nobody. Maybe his dad had one too many.
Oh my
He literally
God.
said that. He said
Wow.
maybe his dad had one too many.
Your Uncle John, my brother, was a heavy drinker, and that was a contributing factor to his death at 57. My uncles, 7 of them, were all very heavy drinkers, and it cost each one of them their lives, with the exception of one, Uncle Mike, who did not drink at all and was a self-taught engineer who became the head of a steel company in Pittsburgh and literally built his own beautiful brick house by himself.
Did you ever have a picnic growing up? Jesus Christ.
God.
Did your mother say good morning to you when you woke up?
Right. We told you all this before in order to warn you that our genes are such that they do not lend themselves well to drinking. It seemed that you simply did not want to hear it.
Oh,
This is
my
what I'm talking about. He's
God.
taking knowing. I looked into myself as if he knew the whole time, but I was trying to push it away. No, don't tell me about my past. I'm not listening. I'm living this destructive lifestyle that you actually know nothing about.
Right. It's the same
And
way.
I didn't drink until I was 21.
But it feels
And
like
you'd think that, like, he'd sit you down and be like, look, there's a lot of alcoholics in our family. You got to be careful with that. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, right?
Yeah.
You would think that that's what you would
But
do.
now he's saying that the whole time he did that.
Yes. Your grandfather...
Which is not true. You know how they dealt with it is never having alcohol in the house, never talking about it, never accepting it. And that doesn't make it go away. It's
No.
a disease.
Of course.
Your grandfather Mally had no brothers or sisters and did not drink. Shall I go on? Much was not shared with you because you...
Who talks like that?
Yeah.
Who
Well-
talks like that? Shall I go on? Much was not shared with you. I do not think that this was a kid. You know, like who talks like that? What century are you from?
Yeah.
And also, you don't even talk like that. Whatever century you think you're like poetically talking like,
Yes.
you're just lending. Why don't you say like art thou in a fucking couple of shit?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're just going like,
Come on, improvise some Shakespeare over
Right.
here, Dad. What do you got for me?
and not counting the 2 million commas, everything's spelled right. Like this is double checked. He's very pleased with this. He doesn't talk like this in real life. Like if you talk to him face to face, he talks like a normal person.
like a slow cadence, trying to find floral words but not finding it. Like
Yeah.
this is him with spell check and synonyms.
yeah.
Yeah.
Much was
Yeah. Like he'll still talk
He
like a
uses a thesaurus?
I guarantee.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, how are you going to tell my wife she's beautiful, but tell her beautiful again? You have to look up vibrant, desirous.
Yeah. So like he will talk in this cadence. He will like in his voice, you kind of hear that he thinks he's being flowery and poetic, but he can't find enough words. This is clearly like with the assistant. He's probably still using the paperclip assistant.
Yes. He actually talks to a paperclip. Much was not shared with you because you seem to have had a propensity to make fun of your family on your radio program.
There it is.
Okay, so again, that's not true because I started the radio programs at 30.
Yeah, but there it is. I was at dinner with my family the other day, and my sister was talking, and I just didn't feel like talking, and I just was sitting there listening. And all of a sudden, she looks over to me, and she goes, "Oh, and you're not saying anything because you're just taking notes for your next show?"
Whoa.
I was like, what?
Right.
The fuck? But, you know.
Wow, that doesn't mean this is not happening, sis. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that I didn't experience this.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
don't you do something
I
different?
didn't share things with you because I realized at a young age, in 3 decades, you would invent podcasting.
I knew you would have a radio program or drag our name through the dirt.
Sure.
You know the good Mally name.
Right, sure as shooting. I knew years from now,
God told him.
you'll turn an apartment building into your own studio.
Why can't he give you credit for that
Yeah.
then?
Yeah.
I hope that such has changed. We all reap that which we sow.
Oh, God.
If we do not like the harvest, we need to look back at the seeds that we have planted.
Where are your seeds from?
Whoa. Okay.
Right. So then I finally write back. And I go,
What made you write back? You're just like, now you have the time?
You said, free your mind and the rest will follow.
yeah, I had the time.
That's a great song.
Yeah.
Kyle was in the bathroom. I was waiting on her. I go, you know what? So I write.
Don't give away that your girlfriend shits.
Shits for a long
I didn't say.
time.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
What's
I didn't
wrong
say
with
that.
you?
Most women are very quick shitters, so I find it hard to believe.
I go into the other room for 10 minutes and I come out and I'm like, that was a long pee. I really say that because I can't deal.
Really? Yeah, I can't admit it either, ever.
I don't like
It's
it.
really bad.
I will let you know that I have to pee and I'm like, I just
Yeah.
lied.
Yeah, yeah. I always do that too. I'm going to pee, and then I'm like,
Happen fast. Go, 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 go.
You're shaking your ass. So I wrote, were you ever really an ordained priest?
Oh, that's how quick she shits.
Right. And then she was back. Hi, honey. I go, hi. She thought I was present the whole time. My dad writes back, LOL, LOL, LOL.
He's laughing so hard.
I always thought you weren't sure of that fact.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
I was always sure that you were a priest. It was a
Yeah.
fact.
And also, he would have addressed that 50 times and
Yes.
he would have reminded you that you asked him that one time.
Right.
Yeah, on his tombstone, it'll be like, son, the answer is
I guess
eternity.
just ask.
I guess that you do not remember when you asked your mother that question and she told you that I was her assistant pastor.
What does that mean? Her
What?
assistant pastor?
You cannot be an assistant pastor in a Byzantine Catholic church without first being an ordained priest.
This is what a liar would say. This is what a liar would say. Well, if I wasn't a priest, then how was I assistant pastor?
How do I have this outfit?
Is your mother lying also? Are you calling your mother a lying whore?
Right. Keith, you have a shirt that says Harvard on it. Yes, at Harvard, you get a Harvard shirt. Okay. Just, okay. Then he says, do you want to know what happened after I left the seminary following the beginning of my 7th year?
Just ask.
Yeah. Well, I didn't fall for it earlier when you go, and I left, the end.
Yeah.
If you have questions. So now he's like, do you want to know?
Yeah, you want
Repeat
to tell
that
you.
question. Repeat that. Repeat that.
Do you want to know what happened after I left the seminary following the beginning of my 7th year? Send.
Do you hear the way you read the emails? Like, you read really well and you're constantly reading on the show. But in this, you have to like staccato it.
Yeah.
Did you know that I did not do that thing that you said that I did?
There's no flow. Yeah.
Wow.
I said, no, thanks. I said, no, thanks. Every question is so difficult. You're acting like you're not being the strange one while continually giving advice or trying to teach some lesson no one asked for. You can't help yourself. I'm not angry. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a little bit like gaslighting.
It's a lot bit like gaslighting. Or we could just call it lying.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's like making you feel like you're the one that's not being straightforward.
You know I'm talking about Catherine, and you're trying to get off that now.
Yeah.
Like, why are you acting like this whole thing isn't strange? And this is how, and he just ignores that and says, why would a person ask someone about their life experiences? By the way, I didn't. I just said, I want you to know I never knew a thing, including these things. I'm not asking.
Yeah.
Why would a person ask someone about their life experiences, then expect a quick, simple answer? Teaching lessons from one's hard-earned experiences to one's children is what fathers do.
No, it's not. It's actually not. It's not. Especially not when your
do fathers
child.
do? What actually do fathers do? I don't really know.
You're 45 years old, so that's not what fathers do.
Right.
Fathers give advice when, like, you skin your knee and when you might be going to college if they went to college and didn't get F's and had to make up for it. Like, once you're an adult, your father doesn't give you advice. Your mother doesn't give you advice. They just talk to you like
They
you're
just
human.
make you feel bad every day. Oh, no, sorry. That's just my mom.
But if you notice, like, the people who get along with their parents, I don't know if you know any, I might know one, maybe, but they don't call their parents up. Like, they do call their parents up for advice, but their parents often sort of separate themselves from it and ask more questions than give advice. So, yeah, you can give advice, but good advice givers are asking you more, so you can just fucking figure it out.
Right. That's true.
And they're not like, well, because I'm older, I'm smarter. We're going through different things than our parents did. So you can't really give such direct advice. You can, like, learn about what you're going through and then figure it out together as a good friend. But you no longer have the right to just give advice. You have no knowledge of what being a 45-year-old podcaster is like anymore.
Right.
Who has, like, you know, a girlfriend with 3 kids of her own. You don't have that experience. So
No.
the hard-earned experience that you're talking about is if Keith was going into priesthood in the fucking 1945. When are we talking about? You know?
You have a total of 5 kids. Yeah, what do fathers do? You don't have a relationship with any of them.
Yeah.
If I
And
was
it's the simplest to
It's a
be
little,
in a
little bit of
relationship.
a red flag.
If
Yeah.
I was the odd man out, okay.
Right.
If
Yeah.
it was 50-50, then you can convince yourself the other 2-3 didn't want to listen.
Yeah.
But it's all 5, and you still have to interject.
Yeah.
You blew it. You blew it.
Like, I think as an adult, if you're a parent to adult kids, you're so lucky if those kids want to talk to you. And isn't that sad?
Right.
But how hard is it as a parent who's supposed to have infinite knowledge and assistance and, like, love you the most? The kids are the ones that want to call you the most. Like, wouldn't you love to call your parents and just have a nice time on the phone?
You're
You're looking
along
for that.
with my parents, but I like my parents were more like kids always, and we were like the parents. So maybe that's why we get along. You know?
Right.
Do you give them advice?
Yeah, all the time. And now I'm only starting to realize, like, I don't want to do this. Like, I can't be giving you advice all the time. Who gives me advice, you know? But yeah, I realized late that we were like parents and they were like kids. So I think that made our relationship better.
That's interesting. Until what? Until now or something?
Until now. Until I was like, I'm sick of this shit.
My turn now.
Yeah, basically.
So he says, why would a person ask someone about their life experiences, then expect a quick, simple answer? As if you're not able to do that to anybody, to tell your background in 5 minutes.
Also, this is what parents do. You ask them about their life and they get to talk about it. Like, you get to talk about it.
Yeah.
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 Teaching lessons from one's hard-earned experiences to one's children is what fathers do. So I wrote back, you just can't help yourself. You know exactly what I'm saying, but you keep going. You had to send another email playing dumb, like I'm going to forget what we were talking about.
Ooh.
I love it. And then he went like this.
Okay.
And fake cat hasn't written him in a while, right?
Correct.
Okay.
My dad writes back. An ancient, very scary
off.
Chinese proverb. Quote. Now, all the quotes are always wrong when
I
you
love
quote
it.
something.
I love
you know,
Even the title of his favorite song was wrong.
the favorite song. I'm going to grow up and be like, you, Dad. Number 1 hit across the country. Eric Chapin with I'm going to be like you, Dad. Cats cradling. An ancient, very scary Chinese proverb. Quote. Be careful the direction in which your actions are leading you. The odds are, I'm just looking it up, but you won't find it.
Right? Because
Yeah.
what is that so... Be careful the direction.
There is the Chinese proverb, careful what you wish for.
Right.
That's what I assume he's alluding to.
Oh.
So wait, how does his go?
Be careful the direction in which your actions are leading you. The odds are very good that you will end up arriving at the destination that your actions are leading you.
That's Chinese proverbs are usually like quicker.
Yeah, they fit in a cookie. Be careful the direction in which your actions are leading you.
Oh, here it is. Be careful of your thoughts. They control your destiny.
The odds are very good that you end up arriving at the destination that your actions are leading you. Again,
Google that shit.
Yeah, I'm taking it to mean you're going to push it and you're going to make me tell you that your ex is in love with me. You're really fucking pushing it.
I think that's what it means.
I teased you.
Yeah.
I teased you about it. You never would have known.
Yeah.
But don't push it.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you like I did my whole life. I'm smarter than you. Don't push it. So I wrote back, and this is the final email. Good talk.
Nice. and when was that? You haven't heard from him.
This was the end of last week. So it's been a couple days.
Okay. And he has time. That's the thing. He'll tell you he works.
Yeah. He has
Don't
time.
even ask him about that.
Yeah.
Oh
Works
my God.
doing what? Writing his
Good
book?
question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Preparing
Insurance
the
somehow.
seminar.
I know my mom.
Preparing for eternity.
My mom clips coupons to the point that the big coupons asked her to stop. Like she really knows the system. The stores pay her. So and between that and some kind of retirement fund or something, they get by. But yeah, I don't know. My dad says he does insurance. I don't know what he does. I was telling the other day about when I knew about jobs that he had. He tried to be a truck driver. And
Oh, yeah. These are great stories.
and they fired him the first day. You pay for that. And they fired him because he couldn't do the gear shift right. But somehow he's flying colors and the boss, blah, blah, blah.
And that can't be true because you don't just become a truck driver. It's not like starting a podcast.
No.
You have to get a truck driver's license.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they interview you.
So is he a pathological liar? Possibly?
Yeah.
There's no other way. Yeah, he lies about everything.
What does your mom think?
She luckily has Alzheimer's now.
She has dementia.
Dementia,
and
sorry.
it's probably self-imposed.
Well,
okay.
this is a Catholic marriage, so I think
Right.
first of all, his mom was like 20 when they
Right.
met, and so and I hear this a lot from that generation is I wanted to leave the house. This seemed like a good option.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And these men, like, if you're only dating for a month or two, these men really do seem like a good option. He's talking to you about college, which people didn't go to. He's talking about like the pursuit of something and the certificates and whatever. And you can schmooze. What did they date for like 2 months?
So how long do you think it takes to know someone?
4 months.
2 years.
Yes, I mean it. 2 years? You think 2 years?
You have to do everything at least once, so at least a year.
I think twice, right?
Maybe.
What does that mean? Everything.
You
Your
have
birthday twice.
Oh,
Your,
okay.
What's Christmas like? What's
Okay.
Yeah, like
you have
you
to be in all the situations. When you were on the first, I don't know if it was the first time or 2 times ago, when I was talking about being on the first birthday that I spent with my girlfriend, and we went to Mr. Rogers. That almost became
Yeah.
a fight.
The
bowling
movie
with the
theater.
big hole in my ass. You have to put yourselves in these
And
situations.
the locksmith.
Yeah, and the locksmith.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have to see how you deal with that.
All right.
I also think in order, like, if you want to speed that up, you tell at least 5 people the real, like, the entire story, like the things that you really like about your partner, but also the things that, like, this annoys me or, like, this felt weird. And then if your friends are like, it's still fine. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you really tell the truth.
So if you think if your friends go, no,
yeah.
It's a sign.
it's a sign.
If
You
you
think that's a sign?
if you get along with your
Weird.
friends, yes. Right?
Fucking
Well,
hate my friends.
there's like a thing that we do, I think, in relationships, or at least I'm trying not to do it, but it's you out of like saving embarrassment for your partner, you don't tell your friends certain things because you think that's private or you think you're going to work on it together and stuff like that.
Or
And
you
I
think you want to put it in the show, so you don't want to spoil it.
You know, you can know the person in 3 months, but you definitely have to push it. You got to
Yeah.
go, look, I'm really into you. Tomorrow we're skydiving. Next day we're camping.
Yeah. Oh,
the
yeah,
day
yeah,
after
yeah.
that, we're deliberately
Yeah.
locking
We
ourselves
were
out of
gonna
our
go
house.
skydiving on my birthday in
Really?
Australia, and then it got canceled.
So you got to
Yeah.
put yourselves in these weird
It's true,
situations.
yeah,
we
yeah.
have to tonight.
We're
We have
locking ourselves out of our house. I love that.
and you got to see what
Here
you're
we
doing.
go.
do you feel like you know this guy?
I don't know. I'm like so fucked up from relationships that I feel like I don't believe in love anymore. And you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know anybody anymore. And I feel like I'm so weird now because I went through all this weird shit that I don't want anybody to get to know me really, because I don't want them to find out how weird and horrible and not.
Why did you get shit for being weird eventually?
No, but part of you, of course, or part of me, of course, somewhere is like, okay, it's my fault that like these relationships failed, you know? And it is my fault. Fucking a Turkish guy when you're married to a Greek guy is not a good idea. It's just not a good idea.
My wisdom, son, taught me many things. If you would listen.
Well, do you, and I know this is going to be like, ugh, I hate myself for even phrasing this question, but do you think your parents' relationship and their relationship to you has caused this like pushing people away thing?
God.
Because like what a marriage to sit through people throwing things and yelling at things.
I mean, but at the same time, they have like such true romance. Like you know, my mom told me, and I think this is amazing. I never knew this. She said that my dad asked her to marry him, not like in a very celebratory way. They were like, we should get married.
Right.
I was like 2, and my sister was 6. And then my mom apparently said to my dad, fine, I'll marry you, but I'm telling you one thing, I'm not getting divorced. Fuck, right? And then when I was 14, he had this like affair. He cheated on my mom lots of times, but he had this like big affair with this woman, and he said to my mom, I'm gonna leave you. I want a divorce.
Right.
And she said to me that she looked at him and she said, I told you I'm not getting divorced. So if you want to do that, you go ahead and do it on your own.
Whoa. And she never had any affair or anything?
Never.
Doesn't that make you feel a way as a woman?
Feel a what?
In a certain way,
Oh.
like as a woman, as watching your mom?
In a way, yeah, you're right. Like part of me thinks, wow, that's amazing to be that kind of a woman that just like is like, no, I don't want anything else. I don't need anything else. And then part of me is like, you missed out, Mom. You should have, you know, I don't know.
What's
But
their relationship like now?
Now they're, you know, better than ever. They're kind of in a long distance thing now. Like they don't really, like they spend like 3 months together, and then he'll go off and do his thing and working in Europe, and then she'll be there for like 2 months, and he'll come here for a month. So
My parents are a little long distance now. My dad will go in his basement and type my ex. Take like 3-4 hours, whack off, come up for lunch. Better than ever. Better than ever. Bragging about 51 years, you fucking pervert.
Yeah, that's really gross. Yeah.
wow.
Lucie, you can follow online. Lucie Pohl, Pohl comedy on Twitter, Instagram. You, the letter U, love Lucie.
Yeah.
And the website, you can see everything going on, luciepohl.com, including the new show for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Really, 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 really real.
You got it.
That's right. You didn't write it
Yeah.
yet, did you?
No. But that's the thrill, people. That's the thrill.
What's up with this? It's hard to believe that you really didn't write it. You wrote something.
I wrote something. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about what the show's about.
What's the show about?
And if you guys have ideas, tell me. And that's
Yeah,
what the show's
exactly.
about.
And that's the show.
Oh,
My
she comes on stage and she goes, "What's real to you guys?"
Yeah. My friend was like, you know what you could do? And then you wouldn't have to write anything. You could just ask people for their Instagram profiles and then make up characters based on their Instagram
Holy
profiles. I'm
shit.
like, okay, yeah, why not? No, it's about being a video game celebrity with a bathtub in your kitchen. Yeah. Now, if I can make the show as good as that fucking tagline and as good as the poster, I'm good.
It's a good poster.
It's a good poster. It's my bathtub.
Yeah.
In my kitchen.
It's a true story.
Well,
It's
we
a true
like
story.
your texts and your emails when you get Keith and the Girl fans coming out to stuff that they have no idea what's going on, but
Yes.
but they
It's the
like you
best.
so much that they come out just to say hello, which
Yeah.
is really, 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 really great.
Really, 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 really great. And I always take a picture of them, and it always makes my day. Always. When they go, hi, I'm not a video game person, but I love Keith and the Girl. I'm like, what? And it happens like frequently.
That's fun.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
It's
So
fucking cool.
you guys, it's so interesting, but I don't think people know listening to the show that this sort of passive, like that's not as passive, like you actually, somebody went out and to see you, but the like on a tweet, the like on an Instagram, the retweet, the sharing the show with people, like this lights people up when our guests get a visitor to like the stand-up show that they did, or like an open mic just to say hi, or even like a DM or something, like a follow because of the show. It really lights people up. We do get the response from that, and it makes it easier to book people. So if you
Yeah.
do like the guest, the only active thing that you have to do is go to one thing of their social media, follow them, like it,
Just buy one of their autographs at a Comic-Con. Is it that such a big deal?
I want to look you in the eye. I can't do that for free.
No.
So don't forget to get Keith's album, I'm Dating Your Mom, and do share this show and do look up Lucie Pohl. She's fantastic, as you heard on this show. Share everything so that we could make more.
Yes.